This is Rob Henderson. College women may use slut shaming to preserve their own higher status. Class warfare helped explain why women who engaged in less sexual activity were more likely to be labeled a slut compared to upper crust women who engage in more sexual activity. He was quoting a study. What was he? It was an article. It was on on Today. This was like way back in 2014. I don't know why he was doing this, but he says, "Why do college students slut shame? It's a class thing." Now that's Rob Henderson is all about like luxury beliefs and all that other good stuff. And I get it. I understand why he would be hitting on the class warfare side of things. But I would challenge that and say, you know what? Slut shaming in various forms has existed way before the aristocracy. And it's not just the upper class slut shaming the lower class. We do it amongst every single strata of society right now. It is a form of intrasexual combat. Now, can you apply it in like social dynamics? Absolutely, you can. But it existed before our concepts of like nobility and aristocracy and upper class, lower class, blah, 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 college educated versus non-college educated. You can point in those directions if you want, but the fact is still going to remain that it is the tool. The latent purpose of slut shaming is really about sexual disqualification. Next here, this is Rolf, my good friend Rolf. Meta-analysis. He is a stud. She is a slut. Traditional sexual double standards have existed for decades and are still present. Exactly what I just said about my little mini criticism of Rob Henderson right there. Sexual double standards entail different sexual behaviors are appropriate for men and women. Yes, remember that. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is from Sage Pub. So this is actually real psychological research. That's from an abstract on slut shaming. Slut shaming is a form of intrasexual combat. Okay. There's also simp shaming. I should point out as well. Like guys today, like we say, oh, that guy's a fag. There's also simp shaming, and the simp shaming thing is something that's I think has been more. It's contemporary, and the idea is this. Now, you guys, again, I'm throwing this out there. I just work here. I'm not saying this is right or this is wrong, but there's a school of thought. There is a theory that the reason why we shame simps for throwing out all kinds of money for their favorite OnlyFans girl is because it's a form of intrasexual competition. Now, is that guy ever going to get laid with his OnlyFans girl? Probably not. But the competition dynamic is still there. So if a guy can plunk down $4,000 and another guy can only plunk down, another pay pick can only plunk down $2,000. Who's the OnlyFans girl going to pay more attention to? Right? It's intrasexual competition. That's why we say, oh, you're a simp. You're a simp. You're a simp. What it is it's well, first of all, it's based on transactional sex. And then second of all, it is who can afford, who can lead with their wallet, who can put down the most money, who's the better representative of who can give a woman more. And that's the form of competition. This is really beta. I mean, this is 80 percenters. This is how they compete with other 80 percenters, by the way. So I would be remiss in my show here if I did not bring up simp shaming as well. And then there is the, let's see, what else do I got here? Oh, okay. So it's also about cheapening resources. And I wanted to make sure that I pointed this out as well, is if a woman who is competing and slut shaming another woman says that girl's a slut, but I am not, it's trying to disqualify that girl out of the sexual marketplace. Yes. But what is that woman offering? Why is she attractive in the first place? What is the resource that she offers? Her sexuality, right? For men, it might be the actual resources as a long-term prospect. I'm not saying like one night stands I'm talking about the beta buck side of hypergamy as opposed to the arousal side of hypergamy in that sense. So it's like, what is cheapening? The reason why there's a school of thought, and this is from the social side of things. I'm not saying I 100% agree with this, but it might be an ancillary to the slut shaming as in a evolutionary sense. But is that if a woman, it's got like the gold digger. The gold digger is basically what every other woman is doing. She's just more vocal about it. She's more above board with it. So if a gold digger is saying, well, I only date really rich guys and this is how I am and that's how it is, what happens is if enough people say, well, that's how she's a gold digger, all women are like her, right? If that's the popular concept, then what women have to do is they have to slut shame the gold digger as someone who is not worthy of investing in a future or paternity investment with a guy. Because what happens is if she's giving away the game, then that gives away all the game with the other women who are relying on the game still being, concealed from guys. But if a woman comes out there and like you see all these ratchet ass girls on Fresh and Fit, people will slut shame those girls because they're from Miami and they're these club girls and they don't represent the rest of the United States, right? It's in the best interest of other women who aren't, ratchet 304s from Brickell. It is in the best interest of all the other women to slut shame those women who are on there because they represent what they hope that men will not think of as all women. You've heard them say this all the time. So when Myron and Fresh and everybody, you got to remember the chicks that are on there, they're not all just like random club sluts from Miami. They're in from out of town. I've talked to girls from Cincinnati. Hell, Torsha's not one of those girls, and she's from Chicago. Okay, she's from somewhere else. And a lot of the girls that end up on that show are actually from somewhere else. But it is in the interest of the average woman to call that woman a slut and to slut shame that girl because they don't want the vast majority of guys to think that all women are like the girls that are on Fresh and are in the After Hours show. That's the principle. Okay, that's the theory. So it's sort of social dynamics there. Well, you can't have guys thinking that these women represent all women, that they're the universal example of chicks. So we've got to find some way to sort of like bring them back down to earth, because if we do that and I'm not like that, and that's what men are expecting, then I'm at a disadvantage in the sexual marketplace. Because remember, we've got to think of the sexual marketplace as an actual marketplace. What brings up capital and what drops capital, what increases the price and what decreases the price, what qualifies as inflation in the sexual marketplace versus appreciation and building value. I guess appreciating value would be it. Like what is it that does that, right? So if men cheapen their resources, the value goes down. So if guys, you want to know why guys who like lead with their wallets, or guys who think that that they have to sort of put everything, they're getting commitment from those guys. If it's too easy, we say it goes down. The sexual value goes down. If enough guys do that, what happens is their sexual market value drops. As men, collectively, our sexual market value drops because guys will do anything. Guys will do anything for a tight piece of ass, right? Oh, okay. Well, what happens is, if that's the presumption, then men's sexual value, our overall value, not as high value men, but our overall value as a sex in the sexual marketplace, it comes down because there's too many guys who are too eager to give up commitment for nothing, for red flags be damned and vetting be damned. It brings down it basically inflates the sexual market for men. If it's cheap, it's common, it's easy. Like if getting commitment from a guy is easy, and all you have to do is just say, yeah, I'll suck your dick. Oh, great. I'll give you the world, honey. You deserve it. If that's the case, and enough guys are doing that, and that's the predominant concept of men, then it brings down men's collective value in the sexual marketplace. That's why men will simp shame. That's why guys will slut shame amongst other guys. Only a player does that. I've done videos about this before, where it's like guys get really, really upset because their girls are damaged goods. They were with the player, and then and I'm a good guy, and when I finally gave commitment to her at 31 years old, and she's already been with the hot guy in the foam cannon party, my investment in her is cheapened because she was with all these players in the foam cannon party in her hoe phase. And you as a guy are a bad man. You want to talk about slut shaming? Slut shaming the player is really what, like, the good guy, the good dad shames the cad that the chick that he's now with really wanted to fucking, like what I said, saving the best, right? Really wanted to have sex with in multiple ways when she was 23 years old, and she was so wild and crazy in college, but she's really not like that anymore. Well, if she's not fucking this guy who's the good bet or the good dad, he's got to find some reason why that his girl won't go and have orgies with him, or take anal, or give him a Hummer, or whatever she's unwilling to do with him. And those are the rules that he has to abide by. Whatever she won't do with him, but she was willing to do when she was 23 years old in the foam cannon party. That's what that happens, is there has to be some sort of rationale. There has to be some sort of evaluation right there. So it's not that, because we can't like let little honey, be sinful. We can't judge. We're not allowed to judge her. We're not, because she's just kissing frogs. Maybe her kissing frogs was having group sex on tape with, 5 other guys in college and doing all of these sexual acrobatics. But that was just her kissing frogs on her journey of self-discovery. And we can't let little honey be in any way damaged by that. But she is, not because she made a choice to do that, but because fiendish players just took what they wanted and they talked her into it, when in fact she really wanted to do it. Because and don't judge her for doing that, because she's entitled to kiss a lot of frogs, right? So anyways, there's that. What else? And then let's see. And then also, of course, as I mentioned before, if women cheapen the value of sex, everything drops. You want to know why prostitution won't ever be like, really hard prostitution won't ever really be illegal? Why don't we legalize prostitution? I live in a state where prostitution is legal. The reason why it's never been a popular idea to decriminalize, let's say, prostitution, although we kind of already have, by order of degree, where like soft prostitution, I look at like OnlyFans as a form of soft prostitution. Adam Sosnick had this girl who was, she's married. She's got 2 kids. She's not a bad looking girl. She's got her OnlyFans and she's making money hand over. She's making millions off of this because she's one of the top earners on OnlyFans. And she just has sex with her husband on OnlyFans and pay pigs. Oh, yeah, let's go jerk off, right? To this girl is what she's doing prostitution. I would argue that it is. But is it like direct? Is she having sex with random guys? No. But is it a form of, like, it's almost like the difference between hardcore pornography and softcore pornography? Anybody remember that? So is it prostitution? I would argue that it is. But some other people might say, well, it's just sex work. Well, if we're going to redefine what's sex work and what's prostitution, the reason why we're even having this discussion right now is because women don't want prostitution to be legal. Because why? It will put inflation into the sexual marketplace. If it's easy and any guy can get laid anytime he wants, there's no such thing as an incel. I keep saying this. You can come out here and get laid and pay $500 and I'll get you laid in Nevada. Come out here, I will get you laid because it's legal. But is it more valuable because, like, that's why I keep saying, game shouldn't be measured by like notch counts, because anybody can pay for a hooker, right? But is it valid sex? Is it something that is it something that should be considered legitimate, or is it not? And that's the question that women ask of other women, because if one girl's easy and she'll give it up, that means that the other girl has to devalue her sexuality, which of course is her only agency, but has to devalue that so that she can compete in the sexual marketplace at a cheapened rate. Again, inflation in the sexual marketplace. Let's see. Okay, I got to that meta-analysis. Slut shaming. Provocatively dressed women reaped the scorn of their fellow females. Maybe we should actually read that. We found the presence of provocatively dressed females led other females to display higher levels of intrasexual competition and indirect aggression. Maybe I should do a full show about this with Torsia sometime. Females in the provocative condition, the provocative condition obtained significantly higher intrasexual competition scores, selected more derogatory words and less complimentary words than those in the conservative condition. The clothes worn by the Confederate, which was the fake, right, in the provocative condition, aimed to emphasize traits that equate to higher mate value, such as exaggerated makeup, this sexual ornamentation, right? Exaggerated makeup and clothing that convey sexuality through the color red and accentuated aspects of her figure, typically deemed attractive to males, okay? Our findings are consistent with the predictions of sexual selection. We need a study for this. Our findings are consistent with the prediction of sexual selection theory, particularly intrasexual competition between females, providing support that there is an evolutionary basis to explain indirect aggression between females. In this study, the participants' judgment of the Confederate, the fake, right, the one who was actually faking the whole thing, and their responses to each task seemed to be based solely on the appearance of the Confederate. Imagine that. Several studies have found females more than males exhibit indirect aggression in school as a form of bullying, which has long-lasting damaging effects on self-esteem and dating behavior. Your Honor, the prosecution rests its case. Defense, your witness. Women are less likely to slut-shame a lesbian fellow female behind her back, reserving this form of defamation for rivals in the game of intersexual competition. So even when there is an admitted open lesbian, women don't slut-shame her. She's already out of the sexual marketplace. She's not a competitor. They won't slut-shame an open lesbian. They save that for competitors. They save that for other heterosexual women. It's there, black and white. The prosecution rests its case, your case, Your Honor. So there we go.